Hello, all you hardcores out there. How are you doing? It's Russ here from Porky's Corner, the voice of hardcore boxing. Today I'm joined by Julian from West Yorkshire, and we're going to chat about the latest goings on around the Conor Benn Chris Eubank fight. Julian, what do you make of it?
I'll tell you something, mate. I don't know if I've just drank too much tea, but I've had chest pains this morning. Don't worry, you don't need to call an ambulance. But I don't know if it's this sport that's giving me some kind of anxiety or not. Some kind of anxiety, or just, there's, when you passionately love a sport, people think we hate boxing. You and I love boxing, mate. We talk about boxing all the time. I love it, and I love being in gyms with fighters. But the running of boxing, the ethics involved in this sport, or the lack of ethics, is just staggering. I mean, where do you want to start, Russell?
Well, I want to start with today on the grapevine, and I'm just played you a message. We'll not say person's name. They've got high-powered lawyers sat with board today. That's what's going on today. But where were these high-powered lawyers for AJ Fury negotiations? Where were big dogs for that? Because as soon as Tyson Fury said that the fight's off, they didn't meet the deadline, and then went, okay, but 12 hours before, they were saying they didn't believe a word Fury said. But they wanted to believe him when he said, oh, it's off. If Fury played right into their hand, they should have let him have a bit of time, I think. But they didn't want it all along.
Well, exactly. They've got these lawyers on the job now, according to a good source. And, I've not seen or heard anything this morning, purely because I've been working. I'm on my lunch. But as you just said, it's a perfectly reasonable question. Where have they been? Where are these amazing guys who probably earn like £400 or £500 an hour? That's probably even the admin clerks will be on 200 quid an hour. Where are these amazing people when it comes to going through a contract? Does it take 5 people 2 weeks to go through a contract and just circle a few things and get clarity on a few things? But no, it's easy to sit down and try and, let's be honest, try and intimidate and bully the Boxing Board of Control into giving them what they want and getting their own way.
Well, the board, this is how I look at it. The board have been told the same story from the Oscar Rivers, Dylan White situation. Do you remember that one where they went and had another test? They knew about it, then went and had another test to cover the sense with another drug body or whatever they call them, sanction, whatever these people that do all testing. And the board got so much stick, didn't they, for that one? I think they said, we'll not have to do this again. And I think this time it's happened. I think they've gone, no. That's what I think. What do you think?
I think what happens is you've got a multitude of events and things that have happened leading up to this fight. So they've had a lot of criticism of the board recently. Obviously, we've had the Jack Catterall, Josh Taylor judging. I mean, week in, week out, putting a judge out there or a referee out there who's done a horrendous job. So the board are under so much pressure and so much stick for some of the decisions that they've made. And they've already had criticism for allowing this fight at 157 and rehydration clauses, etc., etc. And now this is probably the straw that's broke the camel's back. If this was just an isolated incident, maybe the board would have taken a little bit more time to come to this conclusion. But the fact that we've had this effect of all of these kind of, stars coming together, I think it's been that perfect storm. And the board of control, as you just said, I said, we can't sanction this because this ultimately is going to damage boxing long term.
Oh yeah, it's there in front of your eyes, isn't it?
I think it's, for me, it's, listen, it's the second, third time, fourth time we've been disappointed in the last few weeks. Everybody's looking forward to a fight on Saturday. Even myself, who was really against the weight, I've been looking forward to the fight. I broke it down. I was excited about it. I got past all that 157 stuff, and I thought, just enjoy it. It's a cross-generational fight. I was going to watch it with my sons this Saturday, like the second fight I watched with my dad and my brother, and the first fight I was there, and I was looking forward to it. But you have to do the right thing, mate. And there's a massive cloud over this event. This is not a situation when people were talking about the Luxembourg officials, and they were talking about, hey, Chisora and the Klitschko and that what went on over there. That was bringing the sport into disrepute with like ungentlemanly conduct. This is something different. This is a fighter. And what I'm not accusing Conor Benn of being a drugs cheat. You and I, we've been around this stuff way too long to start making accusations and being libelous. What we're doing, and I think this is what you do brilliant, Russell, is you work with what you know, you put things out there, and you leave it to opinion.
So you have to jot it all down where sources come from now. It's no all changed now. You can't just say what you want, man. You know.
No, you can't, and you have to be credible. So what I do is I work on what I know. So what we know was that at the beginning of the year, Conor Benn was dropped from the WBC rankings because he hadn't signed up to RADA testing. That's a statement of fact. So if I'm wrong there, sue me. Subsequently, he got his lawyers and his team involved, and he was reinstated and he signed up to the program.
He's slipping and sliding between testing, isn't he?
Well, yeah, and this is where there's a lot of naivety, and I don't mean to be rude, but you know, I've had some of this on my channel, on some of my comments, and other bit, you'll get this on your channel. Mine's a tiny little channel, and what people basically turn around and say is, no, hang on a minute. And I had someone say this to me today, albeit unnamed, said, but I don't understand how he's passed UCAD, but he's failed VADA. It's all to do with the timeline. We don't know what the timeline is. Yeah. He could have had the VADA testing middle to the end of August. He might not have had the UCAD testing until the middle of September.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Eddie's not been transparent with the dates when they were both tested. He just said, "Oh, we just tested him after," which we did it after, but how long after? How long when after? They tested him after, they're paying for that test. So if they would have failed it, they would have said, "Oh, we can't put that out. Then we'll come back when we can give you a negative." That's how I'd look at it. If I'd been smoking weed in prison and they were trying to look for me for a test, I'd be trying to water up, or I don't know. You try and cover your ass, wouldn't you?
So as we say, we talk about what we know, and I'm just, you can put the pieces and parts together as much as you want. So first of all, he didn't sign up initially to the WBC WADA drugs testing, okay? WADA, however it's pronounced. What we also know, okay, is that there is a medical doctor out there who works for the British Boxing Board of Control, I won't mention his name, who he says he's Conor Benn's camp doctor. He's stated...
Somebody sent me a load of stuff on him a few weeks ago, would you remember?
Yep, so he stated on Instagram, he's Conor Benn's camp doctor, okay? He's also working with other high-profile fighters I won't mention. Now, this doctor in question, as well as being board licensed and a registered doctor, his expertise is male hormone replacement, okay? Oh, God. That is his expertise. That's a statement of fact. If anyone disbelieves me or wants to say I'm saying anything controversial, have a look into this, but you'll have to do your own digging. But he has a doctor who, well, Conor Benn hasn't said this is my doctor. This guy has said himself, I am Conor Benn's doctor. I work with world-class athletes. This guy specializes in hormone replacement. Now, we know that testosterone is a hormone. It's one of the key hormones is testosterone. Okay, so we also know that. Yep. Yeah. What we also know is that Conor Benn has failed. He's had an adverse drug test for this drug, which is a female fertility drug.
Sauerland says it's not a performance-enhancing drug, so why is it banned?
So first of all, why is it banned? And second of all, whenever people get increased testosterone levels in their system, that effectively testosterone is strength, and it's a whole load of other attributes that it brings to you. So for someone to say it's not performance enhancing, then like to your point, why is it banned? So what no one's talking about is why, how, when. So just one more thing. I know it's a long answer, but so I want to know this, and this is not attacking Conor Benn, by the way, genuinely not. So Conor Benn has got strength conditioners in camp. He's got nutrition experts in camp. He has got now, which seems to be a trendy thing, he has a director of performance in camp. He's got his own doctor, according to this doctor.
YouTube cameraman as well, following him around all day.
He's got absolutely all of these experts with PhDs and MBAs, etc., planning his routine, planning his recovery products, planning his diet, planning every single aspect of his training. So I want to know, how has this happened?
Well, somebody needs to be sacked, don't they? Or somebody's been giving him something. It's one or the other, isn't it? It's either corrupt or we're surrounded by competent people. We don't know, do we?
We don't know.
When you get a drug cheat who says, yeah, we're guilty, it's like a rapist. A rapist never admits it, does he?
No.
Even in prison, oh, they were stitched up like a Buxton chicken. They give it all that. Same as drug cheats. It's bad. But it's been found in his urine now. All this B sample stuff I want to talk about. First of all, the B sample, they've known about this since the 1st of September because they were tested towards end of August. So they have to notify both parties. Then we've got Eubank coming out a few days later eating KFC. Is he trying to have a dig at them saying, listen, only way I'm going to fight is if you sort this clause out with this rehydration? Is that his bargaining chip now? Because he's been having digs all along. Maybe it favors in wilderness because people are saying he's been sectioned off and he knows fight's going to go ahead, even though Connor's juiced up, allegedly, with failed tests.
Allegedly.
So it's all hype, and they've took Fury and AJ off at front pages, haven't they? But like I've just said, they've got these high-powered lawyers trying to sort it now. Where were they with Fury negotiations? And another thing, if the Daily Mail hadn't broke the story, would we even be talking about this?
Probably not.
Kept it quiet, haven't they, for 36 days now, isn't it? 36 days, 35 days, isn't it? Something like that.
I mean, I don't know how long the Board of Control have had this news for.
Well, when B sample sent off, they're saying it's so that we're going to send it off. Why wasn't it sent off a month ago, 5 weeks ago? They thought they could get away with it like the white one, didn't they, Rivers? Thought I'll be all right here.
I mean, look at Oscar Valdez. Oscar Valdez, continued to fight, and absolutely horrendous. So what? I'm in the minority, and I know you and I have a different opinion on this. I think I'm the only person, and I haven't seen anything today, who I don't think the fight's going to happen. That's my personal opinion. I think there are too many people out there. If you look at the guys on the undercard or the trainers, and you've got your Crawlers, your Hattons, you've got all Talk Sport. I've not anybody who's respected people in boxing. There is nobody I have heard other than Camp, Hearn and Eubank, because they all are going to make millions out of this. I haven't heard anybody who said this fight should go ahead on Saturday.
Well, Talk Sport have torn them apart. I mean, I was looking at Spencer Oliver and all these, all these that were, and the guard and all them, they were all running around doing the best to protect Dylan White at Rivers fight, weren't they? Because they all had the noses in the trough with Eddie Hills, didn't they, then at Sky? Now, it's a DAZN fight. Knife gone in. But we haven't heard out from Bean yet, but he works on darts as well, doesn't he?
And that's it. I was thinking about this. I mean, we give the Gads some stick and maybe it's scripted, but I watched a couple of things he said yesterday. I'm not caught up today. Spoke really well. I thought it was, maybe he's on a certain side of the fence, but he spoke really well. And most people I've heard of, like Shane McGuigan, a lot of people last night were speaking really well about this. And ultimately, they're saying, look, this is damaging to boxing. This is potentially damaging to boxing. If Conor Benn, will we get the B sample? If it comes back negative, which you got to ask, how in the world can a B sample come back negative when it's from the same specimen?
Yeah.
So that again raises its questions, but it's just the whole thing. There's too many things for me. And again, I'm just asking the question. You said this yourself. We have all said, and this is just a statement, this is not an allegation, Conor Benn has no amateur pedigree to speak of whatsoever. He looked average very early on, very mediocre, very average, and he was several journeyman guys who had been stopped before. He wasn't producing stoppages, and we've all said in the last 2 to 3 years that Conor Benn has massively improved, and he's so explosive right now. I'm just making statements that we've all said.
Well, look, he stopped that Van Eden, and he's never been stopped.
So he's blasting people out, isn't he?
What, look what he did to Algeria. Crawford didn't do that to him, did he?
So he's obviously, Vargas, he did in 1 round. He's obviously a very, very hard puncher and a very explosive athlete.
It leaves a bad taste in my mouth if they fight. Do I hope it goes ahead? Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, to be honest. But now I'd be an hypocrite, wouldn't I?
Yeah.
I would be an hypocrite.
It's tainted, isn't it? It's massively
tainted. If
tainted.
Conor Ben wins, it's tainted. If he loses, well, it serves you right for cheating. So Eubank's in a win-win now, isn't he? He's in a strong position now, bargaining wise, isn't he? And if he gets beat wise and all that, do you know what I mean? But if he wins, they'll say he deserved it. Other kid, they won't say you beat a small guy. They'll say you beat a cyborg, won't they? That's how he'll be get sent up, won't he?
It's going to be interesting what comes out today with the border control, because obviously they've got their own lawyers and legal team. You know, a lot of them are ex-QCs, aren't they, on the border control? So it's going to be interesting.
Between now and Sunday are probably going to be the most important 3 days of Eddie Hearn's or Eddie Hill's little boxing promotion career, won't it? Yep. Because if it doesn't happen, you think that's owner going to put up with all that? Because they won't be able to claim off Lloyd's of London for insurance on show, will they? They won't pay out for they don't pay out for drug failure.
No, absolutely not.
That's why they have to slip in a replacement. He'll be flapping now, thinking, got to slip in a replacement to keep him with border control. It's only option now, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, I can't see Luxembourg. I can't see a Luxembourg or another.
No, it's too late. Too late. When Frank Warren used them, they had weeks to prepare, didn't they? Weeks when it was Chisora Hay. That was 10 years ago.
You know what this reminds me of, Russell? And it's a bit like, you know, they're still saying the fight's going ahead, the fight's going ahead, the fight's going ahead. It's a bit like, you know, I always bring this political kind of comparison and analogy in. It's like when any prime minister, when it's become really obvious they're doing a bad job, and that we need to get rid of them, they literally hang on by the fingernails, don't they?
Like Boris.
Yeah, the rats, exactly. That's what I was coming to. The rats turn against them. Everybody walks away. And Eddie Hearn and Ben and the guys who have got a real investment in this are hanging on as much as possible when you can see there's a real strong public opinion now, and the people with very high profiles who are just walking away from this and saying, do you know what, I can't touch this. I can't condone this event. And he's clinging on until there's an inevitability about, as far as I can see. I don't think many people agree with me, but I think there's an inevitability that this fight's not going to go ahead at the weekend.
Well, let me tell you this. Do you know where the board have messed up here? Let me tell you where the board have messed up here. Take it in me, that. Where the board have messed up is they let that white fight happen, didn't they?
Yeah, precedent.
They let that happen, and somebody's going to go, whoa, we let the white one go. What about this one here? So if they start going on about breach of this and we can't do that protocol, all that nonsense they chart, this old boys club that need removing. Well, you did it before. Why are you gonna? Why not now? We've give you another clean test. Both fighters won it. What's your problem?
Yeah,
there's millions of pounds at stake here. Do you want to go down that road? That's what they'll be saying to them in that room today. Well, they've got their own Queen's Council, haven't they, in-house, the board.
Yes.
John Rees was a QC, isn't he? I think there's a couple of QCs, isn't there? So
there's a whole group of them, and there's high-ranking police officers, former commissioners.
Oh, that
very smart.
Les Potts of the yard.
But these guys, whatever we think about them, these guys are smart guys. They're no fools, so they won't be tied up by Eddie Hearn's lawyers.
They know if they put this on, right, they thought I jump. Because I'll be coming down with picketing and placards with all hardcores. We're going to come down to Cardiff. Beware.
Yeah.
Chat nonsense.
Show some strength. Show the kind of strength.
Yeah. Let's have billboards all over the country. Come and see your Uncle Big P. We'll start a billboard fund.
Robert Smith, what you need to be now is you need to be consistent, because when I came up against you over the issue with Gary Sykes, you wouldn't move on it with the belt, and we all know the story. You wouldn't move on it. So I hope you're going to show that same resolution now, which obviously that same energy, which disappointed us, but we were the little men, we were nobody, and we brought nothing to the table.
You had all the paperwork as proof, and Gary Sykes still never got his belt, did he? Well, we will get Gary Sykes his belt one day, Robert Smith. Mark my words.
Yeah. So if you're not going to do the right thing with Sykes, do the right thing. And I think the statement that the board put out. Can I just say to everybody though? Okay. Look, we're all disappointed. We were all looking forward to it. We're all boxing fans. Yes, I hated the weight thing, but we're not. You and I have talked about this offline. We're not sticking the mud. We want these fights. We want Fury, Joshua. We want this fight. We want Buatsi. We want all these fights. We want boxing to survive. We need boxing to survive because we love it. But we can't support an event like this until there's absolute clarity. And I think that's really important that people understand that, because ultimately you're just supporting the demise of the sport, and it's going to become even more fractured. And if this fight goes ahead, then the British Boxing Board of Control, if they're not involved, they're literally, who are they then? Where do they stand? Are they just like,
Yeah.
they get kicked out, so people can just do what they want? Then they can call it an exhibition. They can bring in another different commission. It's just awful. The whole thing's leaving a real bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah. You know, another thing as well, what's bothering me, the fact that Eddie came out, what it, 27th of September or 26th, and he said, no, we're not doing Pascal Boazzi fight because there's no VADA into place. He said that, and
Yeah.
it's the strictest and safest, and fighters' safety is paramount. Your words, Eddie, paramount, safety first. So we've all seen the other videos where he's out with his pile. Well, if that's safety first, well, Conor Ben's failed for, he's obviously clean now, but he weren't in the middle of his camp last month, and he's failed, hasn't he? Conor Ben, a test at end of August. You've had results 1st of September. We're led to believe that's 5 weeks. So why is it okay now for Conor Ben to win with Eubank, who's already depleted, and then he can't rehydrate? God. And then they've got this guy who's failed for that. I mean, and they still want it to go ahead. What? Are they out of their minds? What if we have a body on? So they could all end up in Nick, couldn't they? They could all end up padded up with purple Aki, the purple one.
As I've said, mate, listen, I'm not accusing anybody of anything. The findings speak for themselves. But what I have seen, the videos and the deadlifting that Conor Ben's been doing, he's a sexually strong young man for a welterweight.
Yeah, he is. He's a little powerhouse, isn't he? But I think Conor Ben will go down in history now if this fight don't happen as a gimmick who never won a belt, area, English, British, Commonwealth, European, world, never won any of them 6 belts, didn't go through any levels. He just padded his record out and fought a few old men and got a ranking, and he was bigged up, gassed up, and he's believed his own hype. And whoever's give him that, you need to get rid of him, Conor, because they've ruined you now. Because he'll be it's a bad stigma that in it now, especially
well, this is the thing.
in it.
Conor Ben genuinely might have had absolutely no idea what's going on. He's like, I've just look. I've got all these people around me who advise me, but where are these people? You know, why are people who are claiming to be Conor Ben's doctor wiping their Instagram account?
Yeah, I've heard he's done that, hasn't he?
Why are people doing this? You got to ask these questions. We're asking the questions. We're not giving the answers. We're just saying, look, you're all adults out there, all intelligent world of boxing, so you draw your own conclusions, you know. And the challenge that Conor Ben's got now is, even if there's a negative B sample, if this happens and he's cleared, mud sticks, doesn't it?
Yeah, and another thing, where's Bellew in all this? Where's his role? We can't shut him up normally. He's got an opinion on everything. He's supposed to be team matchroom, and he's their PR guy. He's always coming out having to going to bat for them. He's gone silent. Where's Coogan, Conor Ben's neighbour? Where's he?
Well, I do wonder if if we do get a positive B sample, if that happens, and there are known to be adverse findings which are proven, I wonder if people will be lining up to stone Conor Ben, because shouldn't drug streets be stoned?
Tony Bellew wants all drug streets put in stocks and stoned in the village. But so you go and get some of that Yorkshire stone, whatever you can go up to Snake Pass and get some more woodhead, fill your boat up, and you launch it. I mean, stocks. That's what they used to do, didn't they, in the 12th century? So Tony Bellew wants to bring that back, but only if it's somebody who ain't his mate.
Yeah, we definitely don't want to bring stoning back for anybody, do we? We
don't want to bring stoning back. We want to see Conor Ben come out and go, do you know what? I'm a young lad. I got gassed up, because this is the only way forward for them now. They'll be trying to spin all sorts of nonsense, because that's what they do with spin doctors. I know they do it. They've been doing it in snooker for years, and all snooker circuit for years. They spin stories. They look. Only thing they can do is come out and go, do you know what? I'm 26. I got gassed up. I'm 21-0. I'm world ranked. Eddie's saying I'm top 5 in world, but I've not won an area belt. I nearly got flogged by Piano. I've no amateur career. I got a handful of fights as an amateur. Give me a break. I thought I could cut a few corners. I got caught. Let me take me ban. I've not got this fight with Eubank. That'll still be there down the line. Always be there, that. So and let me move forward. Do you know what? I'd go, you know what? He's a young lad. And let's see a few people sacked around him.
Yeah, maybe, listen, maybe his partner, you know, I don't know. I mean, this is just a...
Oh, his bird?
Yeah, maybe his partner, maybe they have problems conceiving and she takes fertility, she's on a fertility prescription and he's by mistake taken those because they are
taking medication. That's just a... They probably haven't thought of that. Maybe we're putting words in their mouth. So now we've said it. You can't use that one, Eddie.
I'm just trying to think because you know what? One thing about Conor Benn is immensely dedicated, isn't he? You know, he works and trains so hard.
You can see he's a gym rat, and that's good, really.
I love that. I love that about him. And
that kind of stuff makes you go to gym, though, doesn't it? And train really hard.
Yeah, I just think it's such a shame because you know what? This won't go away, mate. These things don't go away.
Yeah. But like I said, it's a shame that Tony Bellew's not said no, or IFL. And we haven't heard no of Steve Bunce either, have we?
It's very quiet, mate.
I know the Gad's come out on TalkSport, but he don't like Eddie Hearn anyway. He might have to say he does, but he's no time for Hearn him. He's all Team Frank and Fury Power. Isn't he?
Yeah, we know that. I still think he spoke well. I'll always call it as I see it.
Yeah. What about Eubank's dad? Is he going to be in ring if they fight in Will Nigel Benn's dad? It's all a bit circusy, isn't it? A bit pantomime, isn't it? What do you think?
It really is like a soap opera. Well, boxing's become a soap opera, and we don't. You know, I haven't seen the reports. I heard something last night. I didn't look online about Eubank Senior has had some kind of breakdown. I hope that's not true, and I hope he's okay. That's the most important thing. But you know, we can joke about things and we can say it's a big circus. But Eubank Senior, he will know about this. He has lost a son last year, and when he came out and said the things he said recently, then you have to start thinking, what else is driving him to say that?
Why did he let his son sign it though? A month ago.
I guess it's like anything. We're all our own man, aren't we? I mean, your father could advise you to do something, but ultimately you're your own man and you'll do what you want to do.
So I'm in predicament I'm in.
It's true though, isn't it? Listen, but my dad, bless him, I used to listen to his advice and most of the time I took it, which is why I've done okay, but not always. Sometimes I didn't.
Yeah. If Ben wins though, beats Eubank, what and they did fight, where would we be?
Well, what if Ben wins and he beats Eubank and then there's a positive test 4 weeks from now? We've got a no contest, haven't we?
Yeah.
There's too many. There are too many things for me that says this fight cannot happen because the only casualty in this fight is money.
Yeah, why won't the fight pulled at the beginning of September though over this? Why won't it all out in public domain?
Probably hoping they could come to some agreement and brush it under the table. Maybe they were hoping that they'd get a negative B sample shortly after. Because
where is this B sample?
Who knows? There's a few B samples that have gone missing right now, aren't there?
Yeah, interesting. Do you want to click on part 2, mate?
Of course, mate.
Cheers, pal.